Hello, my name is David. I would fail to write bubble saw on a whiteboard. I look code up on the internet all the time. I don't do riddles. With these 3 words, David Hannemeyer Hansen kicked off something that I think is really, really interesting in terms of a thread that went on over the last few days on the internet. So, humility, hiring, hubris, and my new bicycle. It's Monkchips in 3 minutes. So what's that? What was David actually saying? If we look at hiring policies of some of the major tech companies, Google and Amazon notably, they've got this very computer science view of the world in terms of what their hiring should look like. They'll get you go to the whiteboard, try and come at it from an algorithm perspective, basics of computer science, stuff that frankly a lot of developers have forgotten. Maybe 10, 15 years ago. It's not something they're using every day. It's kind of the same as a language that, if you think about French, you could learn a bunch of French in college, but if you haven't spoken it in 20 years, it's going to be pretty hard to pick that up. And so from a computer science perspective, it's the same. And this idea that you need to be able to remember algorithms that are foundational to computer science in order to do good programming work, it doesn't really make sense. What was great about David was he kicked off this thread, and suddenly there were a ton of different developers that were standing up and saying, hey, here's something I don't know. Perhaps I'm a Linux kernel developer. Perhaps I never even did that kind of algorithmic training that so many of these companies are using in terms of their hiring. And so it was great that people were standing up and saying, be a little bit more, have a bit more humility. And these were a lot of the tech leaders. And I think that's really important. If we think about being more inclusive as an industry, one of the most important things that we can get from developers is humility. Because if we're making everyone feel bad that they don't know all of this stuff, why would they want to join our industry? Why would they want to come in? How's that going to help diversity? And I think that's really important. So, well done, David. It's a great thread. You should check it out. So look at hubris. Frankly, that's America right now. The idea that when people are arriving in customs, and actually we thought this was a joke at first, a developer that had just arrived in the States after an 11-hour flight was asked to do some of this stuff, to go to a whiteboard, to start answering questions, answering them as they are in Wikipedia, in order to prove somehow that they're a developer, is ludicrous. Come on, America, get a grip. We can't be putting people through these hoops when they're arriving in the country. It just makes it uncomfortable for people. They're not going to want to visit, and that's going to hurt economically, and of course it's already hurting socially. So I think it's gone too far, too much arrogance. Talk about being great, well fine, but it's hubris. So what about my new bicycle on another note? Because I think that's what you really want to know about. So you think about a new bicycle. Well, my bicycle is not new. It's pretty old, in fact. It's from the 1950s. So this is a Royal Enfield. Jack, my video guy, gave it to me as a gift, or at least the frame. And it's a beautiful thing. And I didn't want a new bike. The old handmade frames are kind of nicer. And I think from a tech perspective, that's interesting because obviously there's shiny and new. And that's good and all, but also we have to remediate legacy systems. And this certainly is one. It's beautiful. I had the refit done at a place called Isambard's in Bethnal Green. They're amazing, very sympathetic. If you look at these forks, for example, they actually are kind of new. They painted them and then distressed them so that they fit the rest of the bike. The bike had been under a shed for about under a bush for about 30 years. But it's a lovely thing. It's actually really light. And it's got that Japanese thing of wabi-sabi. It shows its age, but it's still great for getting around. It's got new wheels, it's got new cartridge, it's got new pedals, it's got a lot of new things, but what it's mostly got is a lot of character. So that's Monkchips in 3 minutes. You want to subscribe, you want to tell your friends, you want to watch the show, come on in, the water is warm.